Good morning. It's Friday, October 17th, 2025. So we've got 10 for October plus 17, which gives us 27. So today when I'm looking at 2025, I'm seeing it as two numbers. I'm seeing the 20 and the 25. The way that I'm seeing the 20 is as 2 followed by a 0. Whenever I see a 0 following after a number, it's the energy of the number that precedes the 0. And the 0 means inaction. So I'm thinking of the quality of 2, which deals with the built-in duality of your feelings and your intuition that calls for a reconciliation. That built-in duality, that built-in sometimes conflict that needs to be brought into balance or reconciled, brought into agreement. I'm feeling the concept of opposites attracting, allowing something to gel. Like if we're dealing with two different parties, it's a mutual submission, submitting to one another, looking out for the well-being of the other party. I'm strongly feeling something about business partnerships right now, or organizations, meetings and groups, and specifically groups that are formed, organizations, businesses that are formed to meet the needs of the greater good. So I'm seeing 10 for October plus 17 for the day, which would be 27. With the context of our current energetic landscape, 27 strongly tells me upheaval. And looking at 2025, the first 3 digits of 2025 would give you 202, which deals with breakthrough. And we are in serious breakthrough energy right now. So looking at 10 plus 17 is 27, plus this 202 energy, there's upheaval and breakthrough. And the only number that's left would be the last number, the 5 at the end of the 2025, which deals with crises, challenges that need to be resolved, or imbalances that need to be corrected, or something unfinished that needs to be finished, completed. It's resolved when you add 1 to it, or add action to it, or add initiative to it. That resolves the 5 to a 6, which deals with mutual satisfaction. Another way that we could look at this is 10 is the number of mastery. So when we think of numerology, in numerology we have 1 through 9. And 1 would be initiation, the beginning, conceptualization, getting started. And 9 is all the way to the point where you're reaping. You're reaping what you've sown. You're reaping the harvest. And it would be the end of the cycle, getting ready to start over again. And when I look at 10, also the same way that we did 20, it's a 1 with a 0 behind it. So we've got getting started and then that action. It reminds me of a wheel, like putting something on wheels. So you're putting initiation on wheels. So you're really moving along, which implies that you've completed this cycle before. If you feel confident enough and comfortable enough to hit the ground running, it means that you've done this before. It denotes mastery. You've already gone from 1 to 9. So now you're not starting over from scratch. You're starting over from experience. 17 is a number that denotes authority. And it resolves to the number 8, which is a number of resources. And this is all sorts of resources. But when we're dealing with a business context here, it tends to focus on material resources. It also focuses on power and leadership. And they know what they have. They know how to use it. They know how to keep track of it. And they also know how to get more. So looking at those two different concepts there, the 10 concept of mastery and getting started and moving along, and this number of authority here, it gives me the feeling of someone who's on a mission, someone that has an objective. There's a situation that wasn't working, and I'm thinking of someone who comes into a new business and cleans things up. Things haven't been running the way that they should. It makes me think of a business where the past management or the past leadership of the business did not do an effective job. And the board of directors needed to bring someone in who could make things more efficient, someone who had a track record, someone who could get in there and hit the ground running so that it would not lose value for all the stakeholders and for all the customers and destroy the morale of the company even more. They brought in someone who was skillful, could hit the ground running, had a track record, an authority in the field. Someone with relevant experience, and also someone who was up to speed on the times. I'm feeling the energy right now of where we're heading economically. We're moving into a spirit of collaboration. Less competition, more collaboration. Moving forward, we're moving into a more conscious economy. So this 10 plus 17 gives me 27. And that shows me that we have moved into a period where anything done the old way is not going to work. We're on a higher frequency, and the frequency is going to continue to rise. And for the going concern of anything built right now, or anything that had already been built, adjustments must be made. A total attitude adjustment and a change in procedure. To step back and take a look at the new environment and fine-tune the vision. Updating the vision. Not selling out, but making sure that everything is relevant to the times. That energy moving forward, that energy cannot stand. The frequency of our reality has ratcheted up, and it's still ratcheting up so high that anything that is built on lies now will not stand. So the energy of today, the October 17th, 10 plus 17 is 27. There's a strong energy of upheaval. And that 27 is broken down between that 10 energy of mastery, of getting started and moving forward, getting something started and putting it on wheels. We've got the authority number of 17. So we have a crisis situation right now, and we need people who know what they're doing, they're skilled, and they're ready to get going. So authority is something that has to be gained over time. You just don't gain authority right away. Just because you know something really well or you're really good at something is not going to get you authority right away. It's something that takes time. Also, like if there's seeds that have been planted, there needs to be time to cultivate those seeds and for those seeds to germinate. And Jesus said that you will know his people by their fruits. You will know them by their fruits. It takes time for a person to show that they have integrity, that their actions match their words, that there's quality, that there's substance behind what they say and what they do. So what we're about to see play out over and over again is people who are in positions of authority that have proven that they don't deserve to be in those positions of authority. They've been bad stewards. They've lied under oath. They've made promises and not kept those promises. There have been people who have made promises with no intention of keeping those promises, and it's caused a lot of damage. But then there were people that were newer on the scene, and they knew what they were doing, but they may have done things in a new way, a higher frequency way, a way that was ahead of their time. And what we're going to notice, there's going to be something really big happen. There's a shift that just recently occurred. And many people who are currently in their positions and they've been bad stewards, or they've proven that they don't have integrity, or they don't understand the seriousness of lying. There's a shift has just occurred where many of those people are going to be losing their positions. And it's going to be the case of the first is going to become last, and the last is going to be first. Those new leaders, there's going to be new leaders rising that were waiting in the wings, and they've been there, they've had integrity, and they know what they're doing. They've actually been on the ground, the foundation that are providing the structure. They've been providing the structure underneath, the stability underneath, while these leaders that we're talking about at the top, who have not been good stewards, who have not kept their promises, with this influx of higher energy, anything that's built on lies is not going to stand. So those who are currently in leadership are going to be replaced by those who are vibrating at this higher frequency. There's a fractal nature to reality. So we're going to see this situation played out from the highest levels of government all the way down into our personal lives. We're going to see this taking place. So this breakthrough energy that we've been having over the past few days, there's going to be some surprises. Hold the frequency, because there's going to be some shakeups and surprises coming starting today. So there's a lot to look forward to. And remembering that when the enterprise was first started, it was because the founder recognized a need that they could fill in a way that only they could do it. And so as time has moved on and the needs of the collective have evolved and the frequency has increased, it's time for updates. So the energy of this year 2025, first of all, I'm seeing two in action. So this reconciliation of feelings, emotions, and intuition. And also I'm seeing the number 25. The number 25 deals with knowing what you need to do and doing it. Moving intuitively, especially in a crisis situation where something needs to be done. It's knowing the right thing to do and doing it. It's not focused on doing things perfectly, but it's focused on doing the best thing. Doing the best thing that you can do with the resources you have at hand. This is a powerful energy today. So the energy of 10, the energy of 17, the energy of 20, which deals with decision making, and the energy of 25, which deals with moving forward, knowing first what needs to be done, being able to feel, intuitively know what needs to be done, and doing it. And not being careless, but not being afraid to take the risk. Not being afraid to take a risk when making these decisions and moving forward, that things won't turn out absolutely perfectly, but knowing when you have a track record. This is someone who knows how to learn. There's an art to learning. Pattern recognition. There's something about someone who doesn't give up, and they have an accurate intuition about the way things should be done, even when the crowd might be doing it one way because that's the way that it's always been done. This is someone who is so intuitive that they always have a beat, an accurate beat on what's really going on, and visionary energy. I'm being reminded of a concept that I explored when I was writing the Holy Cross essay. Energy equals experience times reconciliation. So let's plug in a number here. Let's plug in the number 25. And I'm thinking of the 25 at the end of 2025. And we talked about 25 intuitively knowing what needs to be done and doing it. Because a lot of times when you see 25, there's not a whole lot of time. There's a sense of urgency there. So energy equals experience times reconciliation. Let's make it 25 equals 5 times 5. So the energy is 25 equals experience. So 5 is actually the number of experience. And when you're experiencing something, it could go perfectly, it may not go perfectly. But before you take off, you've got an educated guess and a hypothesis on it. You've done your research. You've gathered your resources, and you've assessed that it is worth the risk. Because at the worst, you'll learn a lesson. So it's worth it. So the experience, the 5, which deals with the challenge, the crisis at hand, the problem that you're trying to solve, and times reconciliation. So reconciliation would be maybe trying it again a different way, from a different angle. I'm getting an energy of looking at both sides of a situation and coming up with a happy medium or a compromise, or sometimes the pressure of the scarcity of time. The scarcity of time creates pressure, and scarcity of resources sometimes creates a pressure that drives more creativity, originality. Sometimes the best ideas are born out of scarcity, necessity. And so this experience times reconciliation, all of these things produces energy. In those situations where new things are being tried, the risks that are taken, there's a certain amount of excitement that's not in places that just follow status quo. So there's a lot to be said for that. Okay, so when I put all these together, 10 plus 17 is 27. And then if I sum 2025 down to 9, 27 plus 9 gives me 36. 36 is a number that denotes a coming of age or maturity. And 10 is a number of mastery, and 17 is a number of authority, and 20 is a number of making decisions and standing on those, holding to those decisions with integrity. That number 20 is strongly connected to prosperity as well, sticking things through, making great decisions, learning from your mistakes and making those adjustments. And then 25 is the energy of knowing what needs to be done, just intuitively knowing what needs to be done, and not being afraid to take the risk, knowing that the worst thing that could happen is that you make a mistake and you learn a lesson, but not giving up. So all that sums up to maturity. And I'm placing them all in the Pythagorean grid here. It's right here. So I put them all in there. So we've got the 10, the 1 from the 10, the 1 from the 17, and I put them there. And we've got the 2 2s in the 2025 and put them there. So we've got an 11 and we've got a 22. Okay. I'm now ready to build what I've conceptualized. Or now I am ready for what I've conceptualized to be built. When I'm looking at this Pythagorean grid here, we've got 2 1s, 2 2s, a 5, and a 7. The 5 that comes out of the 2025, and we've got the 7 that comes from the 17. So when I look at those, this is the way that it comes to me. The 1122 tells me that my body is prepared for what my mind has created or what my mind wants. So therefore, go ahead and plan well, plan for it well, and start creating. I see this, the 22, and then the 5, so therefore 8. That's why I have it circled there, therefore 8. So go ahead and create, knowing that you're ready for the risk and that you're prepared for the journey and the terrain of the journey. And you also understand the amount of latitude, the amount of flexibility that your plan allows. You know that well. Earlier, when I was meditating on this message, I could feel Archangel Michael's presence there. Archangel Michael stressed to me that the collective really needs to understand the importance of truthfulness. Lying has become a way of life for people. So many people just don't see, they don't feel, understand, it's beyond them. It's so easy for so many people these days to lie, to misrepresent, to lie under oath, to make promises and then back out of it, giving false witness, identity theft, lying under oath. The frequency of our reality has ratcheted up, and it's still ratcheting up so high that anything that is built on lies now will not stand. And so the energy of today, the October 17th, 10 plus 17 is 27. There's a strong energy of upheaval. And that 27 is broken down between that 10 energy of mastery, of getting started and moving forward, getting something started and putting it on wheels. We've got the authority number of 17. So in the situation that we're facing in the world today, it's a new energetic landscape, but there's a whole generation of people who have been prepared for this, who have been preparing for this time period that we're living in right now. And they're ready, and they're not afraid to take risks. And at first they may not have been recognized because what they had to contribute is something that the world wasn't ready for it before because it was new. And there was a status quo type energy in the past. But authority is not something that you can gain overnight, because you can know something to be true and you can even plant these seeds, but time has to pass. That cultivation, that care, that consistency, that showing up, that nurturing over a period of time is what produces fine fruit. And that's where Jesus says that you will know my people by their fruit. It takes time to gain authority. That moving forward, relationships cannot be built on lies. Even people feeling like the lies that they're telling are not very significant. It's not that it's not necessary to tell the truth about this, but it's necessary to tell the truth about that. Building relationships in this higher frequency world, even in business, we're moving into a more conscious way of doing business, which means that relationships cannot be built on lies. They have to be built on truth. The earth right now is in turmoil. Anything that's built on lies is falling apart. It's crumbling. The earth is literally tilling anything under that it doesn't resonate with. Earth is not in agreement with the things that are going on top of her. Earth is not going to support anything that is not treating her the way that she treats them. And so moving forward, anything that's going to be established on the earth has to be truthful. It has to be built in truth. Otherwise, it will not resonate with this high frequency. Lies cannot stand. Anything that is built on lies cannot stand in this new earth that is being birthed right now. So authority has to be based on truth and integrity. And that is the reason why the first is going to be made last and the last is going to be made first. We're going to hear a lot of stories about people in high places that are going to be losing their positions. It's going to happen all over the place. There's going to be a lot of sudden situations. Some of it's going to be expected, and then there's going to be quite a few situations that we didn't even see coming, that we didn't expect, that are going to be happening. Because what's happening is, as the light's getting brighter, as this energy from the sun is infusing into our atmosphere, infusing into our planet, it's going to be, anything that's going on in the dark is going to be illuminated. What's under the ground is going to be tilled up. What's going on in the dark is going to be illuminated. And anything that's unhealed, anything that does not resonate with this higher frequency is going to come up for healing, going to come up for reconciliation. And it's either going to get reconciled or it's going to get trash piled. And so also it's about truth and advertising. The next thing that Archangel Michael let me see was, it had to do with a bridge. People aren't talking to each other, and people aren't talking because they don't feel like they're going to be heard or understood. And so people are afraid of rejection, and they're not speaking to each other, and they feel more comfortable going online in anonymous rooms full of people who think the way that they do. At least they look like they think the way that they do, and they're in echo chambers. So the last aspect of this channeled message, it has to do with faithfulness. if you've been working on something, you've been faithfully working on something for a long time, and there's been a lot going on recently, and if you found yourself like at a standstill, like something was at a standstill, or that things seem to be blocked, just not moving the way that they should have been moving, there's something that's going to be changing right now. There's something that's changing. There's been an adjustment in the energy over the past few days especially, and there are going to be some things that are fast-tracked. All of a sudden, if things haven't been moving, things are about to pick up for people who have been faithful with their assignment. There are some projects that are going to be fast-tracked. If you've been faithful, if you've established your background, if you've made thorough plans, there's about to be some breakthroughs coming through pretty soon. Now, just continue to be grateful for the changes that are happening right now. And be grateful for everything that we have right now. Focusing on what we have right now, and also being grateful for the things to come. And I hope you enjoy the rest of the day.